Hi, everybody. It's Jennifer. Good morning. If you can hear me, see me out there, please let me know in the chat. Okay, it looks like we are working. So, again, good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Tarl from Tarl Speech, and I am celebrating 20 years in business this month. And so, to say thank you, I am having several live classes this month. So far, we've had a look back at the top 10 videos of all time, the top 10 mistakes that English learners make with consonant sounds. And today we are talking about the top 10 vowel mistakes in American English pronunciation. So I grouped sounds today. Last week with the consonants, I tried to do every sound separately. And to be honest, it got a little confusing for me to teach. So I was trying to be kind of like sleek and give you 10, but they kind of overlap. So today we're still talking about 10 sounds, but we're just going to kind of combine them and it'll make it a little bit easier learning a pattern. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I can answer those at the end before we go. If you are listening to this as a podcast, welcome. You can head on over to Tarl's Speech at YouTube and you can follow along. And I am posting on there and showing a little bit of a PowerPoint. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump in and let's talk about some similar vowel mistakes. And the two similar vowels that people really confuse in American English are the short I and the long E. So I'm calling this seat and sit confusion. And what I mean by that is I will hear people saying seat some of the time, sit some of the time, and sort of this middle sound, not an E, not an I, somewhere kind of in between. And these sounds, long E and short I in English, are very, very common. And we do pronounce them differently and distinctly, I should say. Of course, there are variations. A lot of you out there are working on syllable stress and word stress, and the lines blur there, but still, they are distinct, different sounds. One comment as well before we jump into this is the short I is sometimes a schwa sound in English. And what I mean by that is I'm referring to the unstressed, relaxed vowel. So I typically teach a schwa as an sound, but some people, different regions, different areas in the country, they will say a short I, or E, and you can do all of those. All right. So let's take a look here. So here are some of the mistakes. So hold on one second here. My microphone is not showing up. Let's see why. All right. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, everyone. So a lot of times students from different language backgrounds in their language, the short I sound, let me say that again. Many languages write the letter I and pronounce it as a long E. And in English, we do not do that. Another mistake is that the short I is too long and too tense. So I will hear people say things like sit. So it's close. It's just a little too long and a little too tense. And then I hear the opposite as well, which for that long E, I hear it a little too short and a little too relaxed. So instead of saying seat, I will hear people say seat. So it's close. And for most of the time, if it's close, you're okay. But there are situations because these are contrasting sounds oftentimes in English, they're different. And so if we have a word like seat and sit, and you're using a very simple short sentence, someone might misunderstand you. So learning the differences are going to be very, very helpful. Okay, so let's talk about how do we fix it. For the long E, I want you to smile, and we are going to think about making that sound longer and tenser. E, E, E. Let's try it in a word. Seat, seat, seat. Okay. Now, still watching my mouth, all I'm going to do is relax my cheeks. Relaxing my cheeks is going to relax my mouth. And so instead of saying E, I'm going to relax my cheeks. Eh. All I'm doing is relaxing my cheeks. E, eh. When I relax my cheeks, which relaxes my mouth, my lips, and my tongue is going to be up here for the E. It is going to just pop down for that eh. E, eh. Okay. So my tongue, if you want to know exactly, the tip of my tongue is just behind my top front teeth for the I sound. E, it's really high. I, it's a little bit lower. It's right behind the top teeth. If you get confused with that short E sound, that eh, that has a little bit more of an open mouth, and you can see the tip of your tongue sort of peeking out between the top and the bottom teeth. We don't want that. We want that behind the top teeth. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to do some practice. So first off, I'm just going to read all of these words. I want you to listen, and then you will repeat after me. Okay. Sit, city, him. Seat, easy, idea. Please take a seat and sit down for the business meeting. Okay, everybody ready? Let's repeat after me. Sit, city, him. Seat, easy, idea. Please take a seat and sit down for the business meeting. Okay, let's try those one last time. Sit, city, him. Seat, easy, idea. Please take a seat and sit down for the business meeting. Okay, awesome. Very, very good. If you have questions, I will definitely take those at the end. Let's move on to our next concept. And this is an open vowel, I'm calling them. It's the short A, and the short O, ah. So I hear short U. So I will hear people say cut for cat or cut for caught and caught. So we just want to make sure that you are going to be opening your mouth wide for this sound, for both of these sounds. For the A and ah, I'm going to have you opening in a wide circle. Cat. Now for caught, going to have you open in a wide oval. Caught. Cat. Caught. Cat. Caught. When you open your mouth wide, what happens is the tip of your tongue can get really low in your mouth and the back of your tongue can pull high up. Because I've done this for my entire life, I do not have to open my mouth as much for these sounds. I can get my tongue into the spot that I need for cat and caught with a less opened mouth. If you are learning and you need to master the sound, I highly recommend that you try to overdo it, overpronounce it, and really open your mouth very, very wide. That is going to help a lot once you get used to the sound and you figure out where your tongue is and you're able to do that quicker and easier, then by all means, you do not have to open your mouth as much. Okay. So that is the key to fixing this. So now let's go ahead and let's do some practice. I'm just going to have you listen, and then repeat after me. Can, fantastic, glass. Stop, dog, boss. My boss thought that my work was fantastic. Okay. And repeat after me. Can, fantastic, glass. Stop, dog, boss. My boss thought that my work was fantastic. And let's do it one more time. Can, fantastic, glass. Stop, dog, boss. My boss thought that my work was fantastic. Okay, excellent. So now we have 4 sounds down. We have E and I, and we need to contrast those more and make sure that the E is tenser and the I is more relaxed. That's going to help you to make those sounds longer and shorter. And then we have the open ah and the open ah. So 4 sounds in. Now let's talk about everybody's favorite here are vowels. We have so many of these. So I'm teaching this as sort of 2 vowels, but in actuality, we have a lot more because an R vowel is anytime that we have an R combined with another vowel. The R is the semi-vowel, meaning it has characteristics of a vowel. And so when you put that with a vowel, it's going to create a new vowel. And we will hear this in vowels like R, ire, ear, air, and or. Okay. What I hear a lot of my students do is just relax their mouth too much and say an I also hear some people round a little too much and do more of like a ooh. And the R sound, we do not touch the tip of the tongue to the teeth or the mouth. Many of my students will do this, and we really want to avoid that. So I hear a lot of people say ton for turn, or just not say that R at all and say stat for start. So to fix it, what we are going to think about is square tense lips. Okay, so we want this to be like this. Okay, the tip of your tongue is either pointing down or flipped back. Either is fine. People do this differently. It's either is fine. It's whatever works for you. And the common tongue position is the back of the tongue is pulled high up. Okay, so square tense lips, back of the tongue pulled high up. Tip of the tongue is either down or flipped back. Er, 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 er. Okay, everybody got it? Also, really think about making it longer and stronger. That is really going to help. Long and strong, long and strong. A lot of times my students like get there, you have the sound, but then you just make it a little too short. So it's like, and then it doesn't sound as perfect as you need it to be. All right. So just listen, and then we are going to do some practice. Purple earn. Fur, far, fire, fear, fair, for. Per her report, the fair will have 4 fire twirlers. All right, repeat after me. Per. Purple. Earn. Fur. Far. Fire. Fear. Fair. For. Per her report, the fair will have 4 fire twirlers. Let's try those one more time. Purple earn. Fur, far, fire, fear, fair, for. Okay, excellent. One tiny comment that I want to make, because I get this question a lot in the comments on videos, is your mouth looks different when you say this word versus this word, even though you say that the vowel has this mouth shape. That is true because English connects sounds together. So we tend to not have very hard breaks between syllables or sounds like in some other languages. So if I say the word pearl, like the stone, pearl, versus if I say the word whirl, that R is going to look different because for the P, my lips are a little more pulled back. Pearl. So I can get that really square shape for my lips. But if I start with a W and my lips are very rounded for that W, I have to really pull my lips back into that square tense shape. So you don't see that square tense shape in this like picture moment in time. So it's not going to be whirl. It's going to be sort of this fluid shape, whirl. So again, if you see pearl versus whirl, that earl and whirl is quick because I'm moving from puckered lips all the way through to square tense and then pulled back for that L. So just wanted to comment on that. I've been getting questions about that and comments about that a lot lately. So the lip shape of other sounds does impact a sound, and it will look very different. And in some cases, it will sound a little different as well. Okay. So we are on to our like close to the end here. We have this long movement vowel concept. And this is for the long A, O, and ow. And what happens? People tend to not move their mouth enough. And so I hear an So instead of saying coat or Kate or town, I would hear cut, cut, and ton. Again, I'm exaggerating. It's a lot of people kind of get closer, but that's the concept, is just we're not moving the mouth as much. And so it's sounding more like an sound. So what our brains do is we substitute a sound that's close to the sounds that we have in our native language. So a listener who is a native English speaker might misunderstand you because your sound is closer to a sound that we're typically making in English. So that's the sound that they will hear and perceive. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And so conversely, learners do this in all language learning concepts. The sound that is closest in your language is the sound that you're going to use in the new language. And that's what gives us an accent. All right, so let's go ahead and try some of these words. Simple concept to fix it. Move your mouth, okay? Just listen. Mate, main, steak. Coat, most, stoke. Town, sound, loud. Kate is in town and is most excited to go out downtown later tonight. Okay. Repeat after me. Mate, main, steak. Coat, most, stoke. Town, sound, loud. Kate is in town and is most excited to go out downtown later tonight. Okay, let's do that one more time. Mate, main, steak. Coat, most, stoke. Town, sound, loud. Kate is in town and is most excited to go out downtown later tonight. Okay, good job. Okay, before we get on to the last sound, let's do a quick review here. All right. So, sound mistake 1 and 2. Confusion of these short I and long E. So, make these different. This is huge because variation in English helps with the rhythm. So, this is really going to help with the rhythm. And this is the difference between seat and sit. Next, we have these open vowels ah and ah. Most people don't open their mouth enough, so it sounds like an So this again is going to not just impact words with these sounds, it's going to impact the rhythm because the short U sounds a little shorter. I'm going to say sounds shorter than the ah and the ah because you are moving your mouth to get to those vowels. And then we have our vowels. A lot of people still say a short U or they just don't say that And so we'll hear ton for turn. And boy, do we hear short U's again here, or perceive short U's, I should say. And we would hear cut or cut for Kate and coat, and ton for town. And yes, ton, the weight measurement is spelled Ton. Okay, so I think you're probably seeing a pattern here. We're seeing a lot of short U's. We're hearing a lot of short U's. Okay, now this might surprise you with the next sound that is a huge mistake, the short U. And guess what? People don't say a short U. They say a long O or a long E. I know this is crazy, but this is true. Okay, what's happening here? You hear me oftentimes talk about this concept of a schwa. It is a short, quick, relaxed vowel. It is lower and softer, lower in pitch and softer volume. It's just sort of a quick We love this sound in American English. Love, 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 love it. And we use it because we often use this schwa in unstressed syllables. So as words get longer in English, we need to fit them in a specific amount of time that we have to say them. So all of the syllables need to get shorter. So we tend to use this sound a lot. I have the schwa sound in my name, Jennifer. Most of my students call me Jennifer with an E in the middle. It's not Jennifer, it's Jenna. Jennifer, Jennifer, Jennifer. Super short, super quick, super relaxed mouth. It's just an I've said at the beginning that a lot of times I get questions. People will say, but I hear people saying or eh. It's all the same concept. It's just the short sound. Okay. In English, if you're transcribing and if you learn phonetic transcriptions where you learned English, we will have 2 syllables for the short U sound. I tend to just say, let's learn the short U sound, which we're learning today. There will be a difference, slight difference, if it's in a stressed syllable versus unstressed syllable. But let's not worry too much about that. Let's just think about using this short U sound, this sound, okay? Learning the sound and using it more is really going to help with your rhythm, because if you say Carolina instead of Carolina, your rhythm is different. Same thing if you say California, you're adding a syllable and you're making some of those sounds longer instead of saying California. Okay, so let's look at how do we fix it. Relaxed mouth. And then my big tip here is focus on the rhythm. Just focus on the sound, like that you can hear me. I am just humming the sounds, humming the words. That really helps a lot of people. Another way, another trick that I have learned from my students actually is that if you shout or yell the word Carolina, California, you hear that stressed syllable, and then you can make the other syllables less stressed and shorter. Okay. So let's just listen and then we'll practice together. Us, done, the. I keep in touch with my one friend from California. Okay. Spelling of this sound is not helpful because we can use any vowel letter or vowel combinations to spell this sound. So just in this sentence example, touch. O-U, I'm saying a short U. One, this O, I'm saying a U. From, same thing. That's an O, I'm saying a short U. California, my eyes are an And then Carolina, my O here is a short U. Okay. So just know that you are going to have to listen for this and that spelling doesn't necessarily help. That being said, you can see in California and in my name, Jennifer, and beautiful, that I in the middle of longer words is oftentimes the schwa. Okay. It's oftentimes that short U sound. Let's do some practice. Okay. Us, done, the. I keep in touch with my one friend from California. Us, done, the. I keep in touch with my one friend from California. Okay. Very good. One little bonus tip to practice your rhythm and the short U sound is with the word the or or an. All of those articles, a, an, or the, we connect it to the noun and we make the vowel sound an So a car, an apple, the table. I'm using that schwa sound. I'm making that vowel have less weight, a little quicker, a little more relaxed. And then the noun gets the most weight because it's the more important word here. We tend to stress and highlight words that are more content focused instead of grammar focused. So, okay, everybody, those are all of our sound mistakes today. Short U, our long movement vowels, A, O, and ow. Move your mouth more. For the R vowels, think about those square, tense lips. Make it longer and stronger. Short A and short O. Open that mouth wider. And then the long E and short I. Think about your tension and longer and shorter. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for being here. I see that I've got some nice comments here. Oh, how nice. You've been watching my channel for years. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure and honor to be able to help in just my own little way. Let's see, I will be here every day for the rest of the year. Someone said, can you please keep posting? Yes, I will be posting a new lesson every day this year. If you don't know, if you're new here, I am posting a masterclass series this year. That is once a week on Wednesdays. I post a lesson on how to pronounce each consonant and each vowel sound in American English. It's a little more of a deep dive. We do some practice. And then the rest of the week, it is throwback to about, I think 14 years ago, 13 years ago, I think 14 years ago, I made videos. They are actually available on the iTunes store and iBooks. And you can watch me and then repeat after me, do shadowing practice. These are also available on Teachers Pay Teachers and on Google Play, but as audio guides only in an ebook. So check those out. You get all the word lists. You can click on it inside of the book and practice with me on the go. But you don't have to buy them even because you can get them all free on YouTube. I'm posting them all, but I know many people want to have them all in one place. Oh, I have a new student. Welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. Yes, please ask a question if you have it now. So Jaya, I hope I'm pronouncing your word correctly, your name correctly, is asking, how can I pick an accent? I have an Indian one. My recommendation is to think about clarity over which accent you prefer. Of course, if you prefer one or the other, I have a lot of students say, I just love the American accent because I like this actor or actress or something like this. Then by all means, learn the American accent. It's about being clear. In the US, people are very familiar with different accented English. And so, as long as you are clear, that's what is important. We do have many Indian English speakers in the US. And so, most people understand you. That being said, there are some situations where I've worked with students who use so many sounds that are different, and the accented English is so strong, it's hard for people to understand them. So, in that case, I always do recommend softening the accent that you have so that you can switch back and forth, so that depending on who you're talking to, you can be a little bit clearer. I also recommend this to people that I work with in the US. I work with a lot of people who are working on presentation skills, and I do offer one-to-one classes for that. If you're interested, you can reach out to me and I can give you details. Those are also available on my website, tartlespeech.com. Softening your accent and flexing to the listener is very important. I speak very differently here in a class than I do if I am just talking with my family. I speak very differently if I am speaking with someone who has a hearing issue or a hearing disability. Then I will switch and I will speak in a very different way. So I have a family member who is deaf and has a cochlear implant, and I tend to overpronounce, really face her when I'm speaking. And I am very conscious about speaking a little bit louder and lower and really projecting my voice. And so, because I've done this my whole life, just from growing up, that's how I tend to speak to anyone who is having a little more of a challenge understanding me, whether it's a language learner or maybe a person in the drive-through who can't hear me through the microphone. So, it's just flexing is, I think, the key to that. Okay, so question. This is an interesting one. What's the difference between the ooh and Okay, great question. That goes back to, let me put this back in. This is similar to this difference between the E and the I. The difference here is tension. Ooh is very tense. My cheeks are very tense. And then, my cheeks are less tense. And so everything is a little more relaxed. So we have ooh, ooh, So this is the difference between Luke, the boy's name, and look at me. Luke, look. So subtle difference, but it's about the tension. And then that tension will impact the length of the sound. And the tension will also impact the placement of the tongue. Placements of the tongue are very similar. Ooh is flat in the middle of the mouth. Is flat in the middle of the mouth, but it shifts back when my cheeks are relaxed for the because my mouth is in a different shape, and then my tongue is pulled back as well. So I hope that helps. It makes sense. Okay, great. That makes me happy. Okay. I don't see any other questions. But thank you for being here. I just really, really appreciate all of you. I really do love making lessons. I love coming to you live and posting this as a podcast and just kind of reaching you wherever you are in your learning journey. I have switched my newsletter from mailing it to your inbox every week to Substack. I am loving Substack, and it's sort of like this new blog platform. If you aren't familiar with it, you can get news there. It's where I get a lot of my news, and it is allowing me to post things there. It's very easy to search on there. You can find it. I'm posting my summary from the week, and I've been starting to dabble in some lessons on some history and cultural topics to help set a context so that I can help all of you English learners out there better understand English, because I work with a lot of advanced English students and they know the grammar, they know the pronunciation, they know the vocabulary, but sometimes something gets lost in translation. And the longer I do this, the more I'm realizing it's because maybe you don't know about the Declaration of Independence. So if you're reading a news story and there's some sort of reference in there to that, you're like, what the heck does that mean? So I'm trying to make these articles very short, very concise, very easy, just the nitty-gritty details that you need. So if you have any recommendations for that, let me know. You can also head over there and subscribe to that. You can get a summary weekly or daily for when I post things. Again, new videos every day this year and this month. I have so many things coming out, let me tell you. So this week, we have a lot going on. Today, I just posted Virtue and Virtual. That is a question of the week from a student. Tomorrow is a 2 for Tuesday homophone lesson, and homophones are words that are pronounced the same. They just have different spellings and meanings. These are great for learning pronunciation and vocabulary. And it really helps with listening, because so many times my students say, oh my gosh, those words are pronounced the same. I didn't understand you because I thought they were pronounced differently because the spelling is different. And those words tomorrow are locks and locks. And then this week for the masterclass, we have the long I sound. And then practice Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, long I sound, beginning, middle, end, and sentences. On Thursday, I am posting close-ups. Everyone has been loving the close-up videos of the sounds. I've been posting those once a week. That posts every Wednesday. Long I will be posted. But that, and I do that at night. So when I say Wednesday night, like midnight, Thursday morning, and I have combined all of those close-ups into one video for vowels, one for consonants, and then this week it's for all of them together. So people just want them to practice. And so you'll have that available. And then a few special lessons for the month, just because, why not? We're having fun. I have some practice tips for Saturday. And then for Sunday, you've all been loving this. I did a presentation at a job fair, career fair at a middle school. And I was presenting on communication in my YouTube channel. And the students, I asked them and they gave me their best tips for speaking and listening. And this week is on presentation. And these kids had really great insights. And also what struck me is it really does just come down to the basics. And it's so many things that I teach that they're just learning and inherently figuring out. And I'm super excited because a lot of the students at the career fair are English learners. Many of them were born here, but speak their native languages at home. And they came up with some great tips for learning and using English. That's like the last week in July. That's on the 27th. So having so much fun. And I know I'm getting long-winded. Next week, I will be here again for a live. And that is going to be, I think, on Tuesday next week. I'm going to have to check, but you can find those all on my homepage at YouTube. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. This will be posted as a podcast, so you can listen to it again, and it'll be on my channel here. You can check out all the lives on the live tab that I've posted. So have a great day, everyone. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next week.